All right, so you found the quick review, and this is a word problem, so I'm going to try to do it quickly. But it's a system, right? You got two boats are 42 miles apart, headed toward each other. First travels for 4 hours, the second for 6. If the second boat travels 2 miles an hour faster, how fast is the first boat traveling? All right, your head's probably spinning, but that's okay. First off, what kind of problem is this? We got to come up with a formula. And hopefully you think it's a rate times time equals distance formula. That's how you start with a formula. Okay. So, it could have been a money formula, principal times rate times time equals interest. It could be some other form. All right, those are the two main ones. So the formula gives me my chart. And notice I like to keep a column for my equal sign. I'll show you why in just a moment. Okay, let's label our columns. Not a whole lot to go on. All I have is the first boat and the second boat. Okay, I teach my students fill in the variable column first. If the second boat travels 2 miles an hour faster, how fast is the first boat traveling? All right. What's the variable? The speed of the first boat. And because this is a system, the second boat will be y, x and y. All right. You can do it another way, but we're doing this as a system. Okay. Now I'm going to look to fill in the other 4 squares. I look back to the problem. I read the second line. The first travels for 4 hours. Okay. Time of the first boat, 4. Second for 6, time of the second boat 6. Now, why did I put that plus sign there? Because I want to multiply the rate times the time to get the distance. The rate times the time to get the distance. Okay, great. I'm in good shape now. I have my chart filled in, and now I need 2 equations. Where do my equations come from? The columns with the variables in them. So I'll do the rate column first. Okay? So my rate column, so I'm going to call this the rate equation. And I teach my students the equation will either be a comparison or it'll be a total. And you have to figure out which. And the problem will tell you. So look at the rate in the equation and figure out, is it a comparison or total? If the second boat travels 2 miles an hour faster, is faster a total or is faster a comparison? It's a comparison. Okay. So the template for comparisons is the first equals the second, right? First equals the second. What's the rate of the first? My chart tells me, right? I'm looking at my chart. It's x. What's the rate of the second? My chart says it's y. Now, I still got to figure in this 2 miles an hour faster. Now, which one is faster, the first or the second? The second. So I'm going to put here faster. I need that. Well, if something's going faster, do I add to it, make it even more? No, that wouldn't be right. So I have 2 choices. I can take away the 2 miles an hour from the faster one to make them equal, right? Or I can add 2 miles an hour to the slower one to make them equal. Either way will work. I'll leave it that way, being I've got it there. Okay, that's my rate equation. The other variable column is the distance column, so I'm going to have a distance equation. Distance equation. Okay, and again, is it a comparison or is it a total? That's what I have to decide. Now from this, 2 boats are 42 miles apart. If you can't figure it out, draw a little picture. You got one boat here, boat 1, you got boat 2, and they're heading towards each other. And what is that 42 miles? That's a total, right? You add up the amount from boat 1 and the amount from boat 2. Okay, so we got a total equation. So here's our template always for that. The first plus the second equals the total. What's our distance of our first boat? Go to your chart. It's right there, right? 4x. What's the distance of our second boat? Go to the chart. 6y. What does the problem say the total distance is? 42 miles. Okay, cool. We're ready to solve. Now I have to say, do I want to solve by elimination or substitution? Well, look at that first equation. It's already solved for one of the variables. It's set up for substitution. So let's take this second equation, and where the y is, let's sub in x plus 2, right? Sub that right in for my y. Let's solve this black equation. I get 4x plus 6x plus 12 equals 40. It gives me 10x, add a negative 12 to both sides, 42, add a negative 12 to both sides is 30, and I get x equals 3. Now, how fast is the first boat traveling is the question. What did I just find? My chart tells me it's the rate of the first boat. So guess what? 3 miles per hour, I've answered the question. If it wanted the second boat, I'd have to go over here, do 3 plus 2, and say, oh, the second boat is going 5 miles an hour. But your chart allows you to figure that out and keep everything organized. Systems of equations. You can do them if you'll follow tips. Start with the formula. Fill in the variable column first. The equations always come from the variable columns. They'll either be a comparison or a total. Figure out which and give the proper template. And then once you get your equation, solve by substitution or elimination.